Hello everyone, welcome to the introduction to the CAF II and Broadband Operations Planning application video. I'm Clayton Burns, the geospatial engineer for Cooperative Network Services, and I wanted to be able to give you guys a rundown of the tools and the usefulness and the data that's being accessed through this application. So first step, when you open up your link, you're going to have a username and password that's provided to you. So when you enter that information in, it'll look like this. And the app will open up. For first steps, we might as well go over the data a little bit. There's a lot of information here that's useful for telecommunications, broadband implement, and planning for operations. For one, there's institutional data sources here. You see you have like a library, government buildings, churches, schools, hospitals. If you click on any of these, it'll open up. You can click on the point that's at that location. It'll tell you the school that that point is referencing. There's some U.S. Census Bureau data here. There's 2010 population households by census block. There's 2015 median household income by census block group. Again, both of these you can click on any specific census block or block group, and it will tell you the either the household income with regards to this layer, or with this one you can click there and it will tell you the total population and the total housing units for that census block. For this demo, I included the CNS, the Cooperative Network Services fiber network ring, and this is just to show you that we can take any of your data you have at GIS format. If it's a KMZ file that's used, usually with Google Earth, we can bring that in and do some work with it, and then also get that web friendly so you can add it to your specific application. That way, utilizing all your different data sources in one location for analysis. We have the telephone exchange boundaries, which is what's on the first layer that's on when you just default open the application. There's Minnesota deeds, served, unserved, and underserved layer, and that shows you the areas that are deemed by the Minnesota Economic and Employment Board, if I remember correctly, where speeds are either below 25 megabytes download speed. Those are considered unserved areas, which is the red. Underserved areas are the blue, which is for internet speeds between 25 meg and 100 meg download. And served areas are for areas that are over 100 megabyte download speeds. You have the ACAM accepted areas for the six state area that CNS operates within in the northern Midwest here. Again, if you go in here, you can see which company it is that owns that specific area. If you click over on the legend widget up here at the top left, again, gives you the different colors as far as to which specific company it is that area is representing. Then down here we have the Connect America Fund Phase 2 information for the reverse auction that will be coming up in probably around 6 months or so, somewhere around there, nearer to the beginning of 2018. And for this information, there's the preliminary CAF Phase 2 reverse auction areas, which is this orange information that's by census block. This you can click on and you can see that there's an annual model support. There's 8 locations for this census block that is going to be potentially going up for auction. The final list will be coming out potentially in 3 to 6 months, and when that final list is made, we will update that data layer for you so you can look at the areas that you're interested in potentially bidding on during that auction. At this layer here, this is a layer that is representing all the areas that the CAP carriers did not turn away at the initial phase of this CAF Phase II auction that's going to be coming up. And this just shows you all the other census blocks that potentially the price cap carriers may be accepting, but they may not. So this is just an additional piece of information that for the time being, these may be getting accepted by the price cap carriers, but they also may not. And so some of these census blocks may also end up on the final list along with these areas that are in the orange, which were the original preliminary list that was put out by the FCC in August 2016 of areas of potentially going up for auction. Some more information that you have access to with this application is your competitor broadband speed from the FCC's 477 form. So you can click on any specific census block, click on this related table here, and it tells you all the companies that have advertised download and upload speeds in this location. For each specific company, you could click on it and it'll tell you, well, for CenturyLink at this census block, they have a max advertised download speed of 60 megabytes. Gives you some more information there. That was all part of the 477 form. And then there's electric service area boundaries as another layer. For certain companies within Minnesota have access to this layer. We will be, looking for out of other states to see which states have this information and data accessible, that we can get it for you to make it web friendly and add it to the application. But at this moment, for certain, it's going to be in the Minnesota company's application. So that's all the basic layers and information. There's a lot of information here, and just zooming around and taking a look at it makes it a little difficult to necessarily really see what there is, how to analyze these things without just clicking on every census block and chunk of info there. So what I'd like to do is go over some of the actual widgets that are included with this web app for you. Up here there's a search bar. You have a simple measuring tool. You can click on the measurement tool and you can say, well, I want to measure a distance. The default is going to be at miles right now, but if you want it in feet, you can change that to feet. And when you have that, then you simply click on the measurement tool and then start clicking on the map, and it will tell you the miles of that line that you're drawing. The search bar up here is set up so that you can search for any telecommunications companies within the 6-state region, which the 6-state region is Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan. For example here, let's type in Eagle for Eagle Valley Telco. So it takes us right there to their location. Another tool that's useful is the Spatial Queries tool. Now there's multiple spatial queries here, and I'm going to go into detail with all of them because each of them has its own kind of unique aspect and usefulness. So if you want to do a specific query for just telephone exchange areas, again, it's kind of like the search bar up top, except for this will actually pull out a query layer for you, which you can then use for additional queries, which I'll show you in just a moment. So let's say we want to do the Eagle Valley example. We apply that. Eagle Valley only has the one exchange area, so there's only one area selected here. Now if I was to go back to tasks, well, I guess before that, so you can see how now it's created this query result, telephone ILEC exchange query result. That's also sitting over here underneath of the layers list, underneath the operational layers. So if you were to click on this tasks tab right here under Spatial Queries, now you can say, well, I want to know how many CAF Phase II Auction preliminary areas are within a spatial relationship of this location. So I want to see how many intersect. There's two choices here, intersect or within. I want to see how many intersect this telephone query result here. It's the Eagle Valley query result. I want to see it within 5 miles of that query result. Hit apply. It will now bring in all the census blocks that intersected that 5-mile buffer query. So there's 89 preliminary CAF II auction census blocks that may be going up for auction. Again, we'll be able to update this when the final list is out. So you could either, you could click on a single one here. It'll zoom you into that census blocks location. You can click this little three dots button right here. It's like your options button. You can click that. You could export this list to a CSV file, which you could then open up into Microsoft Excel. And so then you would have your list of census blocks right there with how many locations there are and the illustrative, the potential annual model support for those locations. Another thing that could be done is, now let's say you're interested in knowing what competitor advertised speeds are in this area where these 89 CAF II preliminary auction blocks were. So as you can see, another query result was added to the operational layers over here. If you were to click now competitor advertised speeds query, you could say that you only want the features that have a spatial relationship with another layer. Click this. Say you want to do the CAF preliminary auction blocks, these 89 that you had queried before. And we don't want to do a buffer this time, let's say. We just want to have 0 miles. So since we did the intersection on there, because we wanted to see, let's say, potentially the census blocks also around that illustrative model or the preliminary area auction blocks to see if, well, maybe there's other areas that also have a better population, a decent number of households and census blocks around those 89 going up for auction. In case you were going to be building out to these, you would potentially want to know that. So again, it's the same. That's in a way the same as the last one. So now you've got these 210 census blocks right here, and this was the competitor speed, that information we were looking for. And again, you could click on either this bubble right here and export this to a CSV file, or you can click on this and say show all related records. And now you've got all the related records so you have all the companies for all these census blocks here and their speeds that they put up advertised download speed service at. Again, you can click this button. You could export this out to a CSV file. You could look for only the CenturyLink census blocks. So it's got the, just like we looked at before when we were going over the data, it's got the census block number, the advertised download and upload speeds for that area. So when we made this query, there was two options here. There's the return features that have a spatial relationship with features in another layer option. And then there's also this other option, only return features that intersect with a shape drawn. So you can just draw your own shape for an area and do a query that way as well. And we'll do that right now with the population and households. Say we're interested in this location right here. So there's 75 census blocks that we selected right here. One thing you can do is click in the options and go to statistics. So for the housing field right here under statistics, if you look at the sum of values, that tells you that there's 221 households in these 75 census blocks. Go to Pop 10, tells you that there's 274 people living in that 75 census blocks. So this is an example of where there's quite a few houses, according to the census data. There's quite a few households and not a lot of families or households with more than 1 or 2 people living within them. The same type of thing can be done within your median household income. Say we just want to know for this location right here. So for that census block group, the median household income is $44,107. If we want to go a little bit bigger, get an idea of some others around there. So you have 48,000, 39,000, 53,000, and 44,000. Now one additional widget that we added in here for everybody is this chart widget. Just gives another way of looking at some things, especially say this median household income. I want to do a search based on a spatial filter that I want to draw. Select that area, hit apply. And so now any column of the chart that you roll over, down at the bottom here is the census block group number for that block group. And then on the side is the total household, or the median household income for that census block group. And so you can either scroll over this, hover over it, and it will highlight your census block group out here, or you can click on a column in the chart and it will zoom you to that census block. And the same thing can be done then for populations and households. Double click to stop drawing your line, hit apply, and so this gives you an idea of, well, here there's a population of 22, but there's only 7 households, whereas at this census block that currently on the map gets highlighted in bright red, there's 7 households, but there's only a population of 9. So it's a helpful way to kind of get an idea of, well, there's less households here, but there's a high population. Potentially there might be more families in that location, family households where others may be along, let's say, a river or a lake, might be more vacation homes or retirement households. Just gives you a different way to look at the same information, but just try and get some different ideas for your planning and analysis needs. That is about all I have to show you. In the top corner here we will have a link with your company's website, so you can quickly jump to that if you need to. There will be a link here about Phase 2 auction information. And the only other widget I didn't show is the base map gallery widget here. This just allows you to be able to toggle your base map from either like a topographic, which it currently is, over to satellite imagery, a different like canvas map if you're wanting to print something. So there's just different options. We went ahead and put that on there so that if you want to, especially if you want to see the homes or anything within a census block, you can. Well, that's all I have for you. If you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, this is Clayton Burns from Cooperative Network Services. I'm the geospatial engineer here, and I can be reached at 218-760-0455. All right, well, thank you for watching. I hope this web app will be really useful for you.